Did you know some classic movie queens might have hidden a secret bigger than any studio scandal? What if a few Golden Age actresses were actually born male, but no fan magazines ever told you? Today we dig through dusty gossip columns, whispered studio memos, and forgotten press clippings to reveal the wildest rumors. Buckle up, some names will leave you stunned. Alla Nazimova. Picture 1918, a silent film set lit by blinding arc lamps. Alla Nazimova glides in, eyes like storm clouds, hair piled high. Crew members swear she never breaks character, never lets anyone measure her costumes. "She pins everything herself," whispered set dresser Molly O'Shea, as if hiding a map of secrets under the silk. No record shows a marriage to a man, yet Nazimova's mansion, dubbed the Garden of Allah, buzzed with glamorous women. Broadway columnist Walter Winchell joked, "Nazimova keeps a ladies-only harem, and no fella knows what's locked in the wardrobe." The rumor: she was assigned male at birth in Tsarist Russia, fled to New York, and reinvented herself through Shakespearean theater. Evidence? None. Only whispers about her muscular shoulders, deep voice in rehearsals, and a studio doctor who supposedly signed a lifetime non-disclosure. Still, her power was undeniable. She produced, wrote, acted, and bankrolled other women's careers, unheard-of freedom in 1920. Fans said she radiated something stronger than femininity. Detractors muttered, "That isn't ladylike at all." Whether the stories were truth or jealousy, Nazimova's legend proves Hollywood would rather invent wild tales than admit a woman could command such authority on her own terms. Barbette. Under a Paris circus tent in 1923, people gasped. A glittering blonde swung from a single rope, kissed her fingertips to the crowd, then pulled off her wig, revealing short hair and a wink. Barbette, born Vander Clyde from Texas, blurred every line. Fashion icon Coco Chanel called her the most beautiful woman to ever be half a man. Alfred Hitchcock studied her act for Vertigo, chasing that dizzy spell of disguise. Barbette barely dipped into Hollywood, yet rumor claimed he secretly doubled for leading ladies in risky aerial shots. Films never credited daredevil women. Studio payroll ledgers list BVC beside three 1932 pictures. Gossip columns argued the initials meant Barbette Vander Clyde. Wardrobe assistant Jenny Lee later wrote, "He stepped on set in satin, talked in a soft drawl, and the grips forgot he was ever a boy." Some backlot whispers went further. Barbette had fully transitioned and planned to headline a musical as a new American starlet, but the Hays Code censors vetoed it, terrified of revealing any pathway between genders. No matter, Barbette's act proved gender itself could be a stunt. Breathtaking, risky, always leaving the audience asking, "What did I just see?" Roberta Cowell. Roberta Cowell zoomed Spitfires in World War II, wearing goggles and a captain's grin. By 1951, she'd become Britain's first widely reported trans woman, swapping cockpits for couture. Pathé newsreels framed her like a Hollywood discovery. Soft spotlight, pearls, and a shy smile. British tabloids teased, RAF ace turned cover girl. Hollywood next? Rumor says Paramount booked her for a 1953 picture titled Jet Set Jane. A memo leaked, Roberta, voice training needed, otherwise perfect. Yet executives panicked. American censors might reject a star with a prior identity. Screenwriter Paul Burke later recalled, "She walked in, shook our hands with pilot strength, and the room fell silent. No one knew which pronouns to use, so we avoided them all." The movie never shot, fueling conspiracy that Cowell failed a secret chromosome test, a myth studios supposedly used to block performers who crossed gender lines. Roberta returned to racing cars, but fan magazines kept printing grainy poolside photos, labeling her the girl with an asterisk. Whether or not she almost became a Hollywood lead, her presence alone cracked open possibilities the silver screen couldn't yet handle. Coccinelle. Coccinelle, French for ladybug, emerged from a Montmartre cabaret in a blaze of sequins. After gender-affirming surgery in 1958, she headlined revues where she'd strut, pause, whisper, "Je suis mademoiselle, absolument." Photographers compared her to Brigitte Bardot. MGM invited her to screen test for a sword and sandals epic. Legend says a studio publicist hissed, "America isn't ready for that twist in a toga." Coccinelle replied, "Then America will chase rumors while France sells tickets." She wasn't wrong. European tabloids adored her, printing quotes like, "I was born in the wrong body, but I bloom in the right dress." Stateside papers tiptoed, calling her the glamorous curiosity. Though she never crossed the Atlantic for film, whispers followed Hollywood starlets with similar cheekbones. A joke circled Sunset Boulevard. If a new actress is too perfect, check her passport stamps. She might be a ladybug in disguise. Coccinelle's openness carved a path that studios feared, yet secretly studied, knowing public fascination would only grow. Christine Jorgensen. December 1st, 1952. New York Daily News shouts, "Ex-GI becomes blonde beauty." Overnight, Christine Jorgensen turned from unknown army photographer to global sensation. Hollywood producers sprinted to her hotel like talent scouts discovering Marilyn Monroe. One offered a biopic where Christine would play herself. The catch? They wanted to insert a tragic death scene to teach viewers a moral lesson. She laughed, declined, and quipped to reporters, "My story isn't tragic. It's just mine." Gossip Queen Hedda Hopper wrote, "Christine is smarter than any studio head. She owns her narrative." Still, rumors swirled that she filmed a secret cameo in a beach musical, her name hidden in the credits. Die-hard collectors freeze-frame a 1954 surfing montage, claiming a smiling blonde on a pier is Christine. No confirmation ever surfaced, yet the myth persists. Studio files from 1955 reveal a plan to cast her as a villain, whose shocking reveal ends Act 2. Censors axed it. An anonymous memo scrawled, "Too real equals too risky." Jorgensen went on to become a nightclub singer, joking on stage, "I never got my big Hollywood kiss. Maybe they feared my lipstick." What she did get was power, talk show seats, lecture tours, and the right to say no when Hollywood wanted her as spectacle, not star. Joan Marshall. Tall, auburn-haired Joan Marshall glided through 1960s TV guest spots. Star Trek, Perry Mason, The Munsters pilot. Fans loved her smoky voice. Rumor mills called it nearly baritone. In 1967, Confidential magazine hinted, "One studio beauty entered this world with a very different birth name, and not the feminine kind." They never printed the name, but amateur sleuths linked clues. Midwestern childhood sealed by court order. Hospital records missing. A preacher father who vanished. Eyes turned to Joan, who brushed it off. People love mysteries. Why spoil their fun? Makeup artist Buddy Pepper recalled, "She taped her waist so tight we joked she hid a toolbox in there." Co-star William Shatner claimed she could out-arm wrestle half the crew. None of this proves anything, yet whispers spread that the real reason she left the Munsters after the pilot wasn't creative changes, but a private memo. Voice too low for weekly sitcom mom. Joan later married director Hal Ashby. Divorce papers sealed many personal documents, fueling conspiracy that Ashby knew the truth. Whether born male or simply unconventional, Joan Marshall's talent survived judgment until Hollywood's rumor machine cranked harder than her resume could keep up. Mae West. Mae West cracked jokes like firecrackers. When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better. Her hourglass figure looked almost cartoonish. So perfect skeptics cried fake. Throughout the 1930s, rival studios planted snipes. No real lady talks like a baritone Mae. A 1934 Variety gossip blurb teased, "Is Mae West hiding more than curves?" She shot back on radio, "Honey, I hide everything but my brains." Rumor kings claimed she wore steel corsets to disguise narrow hips, argued old Brooklyn birth records were conveniently lost, and quoted an anonymous doctor saying, "I've never examined a more puzzling anatomy." Film historian Darwin Porter later uncovered a censorship memo reading, "Public suspicion of West's gender remains low, but monitor vocal pitch." Mae turned suspicion into sizzle, exaggerating her walk and drawl until folks forgot the rumor and just watched the show. Years later, drag performers adopted her style so perfectly that theories flipped. Maybe drag culture created Mae West, not vice versa. She loved the talk, often inviting female impersonators backstage. 1950 nightclub chatter recorded her joking, "If I were born a man, I'd still outshine the fellas? Next question?" Whether rumor or reality, the queen of innuendo mastered publicity jujitsu. Twist gossip into headlines, cash the checks, leave the truth soaking in diamonds. Dolores Del Rio, Mexican beauty. Dolores Del Rio dazzled with moon-round eyes and swan-like neck. 1940s columnist Floribel Muir sighed, "She's art in motion." But anti-immigrant tabloids hissed cruel jokes. Border Patrol should check that passport twice. Might belong to Senor, not Senora. Del Rio's guarded past, no childhood photos, private schooling in convents, fed conspiracy. A leaked costumer's note claimed, "Her waist measure shifts by inches day to day. Binding?" Another rumor said, "She insisted on standing farther from camera to blur Adam's apple shadows." Director Orson Welles, her lover, dismissed it. "People can't believe beauty without a gimmick." Dolores said little, once quipping, "Artists must keep one secret for the mirror." No evidence shows she was born male, yet gossip persisted whenever a new Latin actress rose. Is she another Del Rio, paper-thin origins? The rumor reveals more about Hollywood xenophobia than the star herself, but it proves how quickly a foreign accent and flawless bone structure could spark wild theories in a town that trusted no outsider. Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo famously said, "I want to be alone." Hollywood turned that line into prophecy. If she hid from cameras, what else was she hiding? Private life sealed. No visible romances with men after 1937, and towering height of 5 feet 7 inches. Tall for the era. Throw in broad shoulders, and gossips asked, "Garbo, Swedish siren or secret Sven?" In 1935, MGM launched an internal probe after an extortion letter threatened to expose birth records proving Garbo is masculine. Studio fixer Eddie Mannix paid detectives, who found nothing, but the incident leaked. Fan clubs debated her deep-pitched laugh, her habit of wearing men's trench coats in public, her close friendship with photographer Cecil Beaton. Beaton's diary described her as the great androgynous mystery. On Queen Christina, crew members recalled she insisted on buttoning her own high collars, joking, "My neck tells stories." When Swedish journalists pressed her, she shrugged. "Why should I explain my body? I act. That is enough." Today, most historians view the rumor as pure fantasy, but it shows how the more Garbo withheld, the more Hollywood projected. spinning absence into proof. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich strolled Berlin cabarets in tuxedos long before they reached women's shelves. She once kissed another woman on a Paris street and growled to police, "Arrest me if you must, but it will be for love." That fearless swagger hit Hollywood in 1930, and tabloids roared, "Is Blue Angel star even female?" An agent recalled her first wardrobe fitting. Marlene wrapped the tape around her own chest, called it company secrets. Joseph von Sternberg lit her with shadows, making cheekbones knife-sharp. American censors panicked, ordering ads to soften her image. Instead, she lit more cigarettes and leaned further into mystery. Private letters, published posthumously, show Marlene joking, "I have the heart of a man and the legs of a goddess." Some fan club newsletters claimed she'd been christened Maria Magdalene, close to Marlene, but a birth register smudge hid the original sex marker. Rumor also tied her to a German military doctor who helped with early medical alterations. No record found. Dietrich weaponized gossip. She'd invite a journalist to her hotel, reveal nothing, then gift a photograph signed, "From the one who confuses you." She later entertained troops in World War II, wearing tailored trousers, prompting soldiers to boast, "She's more man than the brass." The joke was obvious. Gender aside, Dietrich commanded every room, proving mystique sells more tickets than explanations ever could. Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn practically invented women's slacks in Hollywood. Luella Parsons once gasped, "Those aren't ladylike." Hepburn snapped back, "I can't ride a bike in lace." Her athletic stride, husky voice, and refusal to play traditional glamour-fed rumors she was a New England boy in disguise. Prop man Larry Coombs remembered fitting her for the African Queen. She refused bust padding, said God made her perfect for jungle humidity. That line morphed into gossip. No padding because there was nothing to pad. Magazine Screen Secrets printed a blind item. Top star hides schoolboy past under tailored jackets. Hepburn rolled her eyes, once telling a friend, "Let them talk. Their chatter gives me free press." In 1955, a Yale student paper dug for her birth certificate. Records Office said originals were destroyed in a fire. Conspiracy flagged. Actually, many Connecticut files burned in 1911, but rumor clung, suspicious convenience. Biographer A. Scott Berg later wrote, "She embodied so many masculine freedoms that people labeled her masculine." Whether or not anyone believed she was born male, the whispers highlight a truth. When a woman claimed boyish liberties, Hollywood's first instinct was to check her birthmark. Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker danced in a banana skirt and made Paris swoon. American segregation kept her off Hollywood's A-lists, but gossip followed anyway. 1930s rumor mills argued her flat-chested frame and muscular thighs showed boyish beginnings. One racist cartoon asked, "Jungle Prince or Princess?" ignoring her birthplace, St. Louis. Baker laughed at ignorance. "They call me every animal on the ark. Why not both sexes?" Secret FBI files released decades later labeled her questionable morals and, scribbled in pencil, possible pseudo-gin. Historians guess an agent meant pseudo-woman. Proof? None. Still, the rumor lived because Baker broke every American rule. Black, independent, and adored abroad. If she could topple race lines, bigots reasoned, maybe she toppled sex lines too. She adopted 12 children of different ethnicities, called them her rainbow tribe, and said, "We prove people can live together." Hollywood never cast her as a major lead. Perhaps truthfully, The biggest threat wasn't her gender. It was her challenge to every boundary the industry kept. Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead's laugh rattled chandeliers. She swaggered into parties, shouting, "Daddy warned me about men, and I'm meeting them all." She chain-smoked, swore, and claimed she never wore underwear. Columnist Earl Wilson quipped, "With vocals like gravel, she could out-curse a sailor." Soon, a nutty rumor. Tallulah was born a boy in Mobile, Alabama, raised as a girl to meet debutante standards. No birth swap proof exists, yet the tale spread because Tallulah played genders like jazz riffs. On radio she teased, "My dear, I'm as pure as the driven slush." A disgruntled ex-maid told a scandal rag, "Miss Bankhead keeps shaving gear in her vanity." Bankhead cracked, "One must trim the jungle, darling." When she starred in Hitchcock's Lifeboat, set technicians bet on how low her voice would drop after a night's partying. She reportedly roared, "You'd sound rough too if you swallowed half the sea." Rumor historians note, in an era when women had to be demure, Tallulah's open wildness was so shocking that some fans needed fantasy. Better to label her secretly male than accept a woman could live that loudly on purpose. Gladys Bentley. Gladys Bentley stormed Harlem's speakeasies in tuxedo and top hat, belting blues with a baritone unmatched. White tourists flocked to watch the bulldagger who sang dirty. She married a woman on stage in 1931, long before same-sex ceremonies gained vocabulary. Hollywood scouts peeked in, but fled. Bentley too raw, too black, too openly gender-bending. In 1934, Los Angeles Sentinel published a rumor that a well-known nightclub king wanted to cast Bentley in a musical but feared censors discovering masculine physiology. Another paper claimed she needed a special gender permit to sing in California. Bentley mocked them, crooning, "I got 16 coats, and none of 'em label me right." By 1952, McCarthy-era panic pushed her to print a confession in ebony. "I'm cured, dressing like a woman now." Many historians read the piece as survival, not truth. She died in 1960, rumors unsilenced. Some couriers insisted morticians found male anatomy. Others swore the opposite. What we know: Gladys's voice shattered walls, her suits rewrote glamour, and Hollywood missed a star who could have taught theaters to swing. Old Hollywood ran on spotlights, but also on shadows, cover-ups, and whispered campfire tales. Some of the rumors we explored are almost certainly untrue. Others flirt with half-truths history may never confirm. What's undeniable is why such gossip exploded. In a town obsessed with image, any woman who stepped outside narrow lines, too tall, too tough, too private, too foreign, too free, risked being branded. Really a man. Studios hid pregnancies, marriages, even eye colors. Hiding a whole birth identity didn't seem impossible to fans raised on movie magic. Yet each name on our list also shows power. They owned rooms, redefined beauty, bent gender's rules long before mainstream language could catch up. Whether born male, female, or somewhere in between, these performers taught audiences to question everything the silver screen projected. And every whisper, every scandal sheet, every secret male birth headline only made the legend louder. So next time you watch a shimmering black and white classic, ask yourself, was the mystery part of the movie or the marketing? And remember, truth in Hollywood often hides not behind a locked door, but behind the stories people need to believe. Which rumor surprised you most? Let us know, and keep those projector reels spinning.